Hello, my name is Sally Pinto, and I'm the Program Director for the Yonkers NORC, Neighborhood Naturally Occurring Retirement Community. We serve seniors 60 plus in Northeast Yonkers. We are under the auspices of WJCS and the Yonkers Office for the Aging. We also have a resource specialist and a nurse on staff. We conduct virtual programming in partnership with the Yonkers Public Library on a daily basis. Enjoy the program.
So much, everyone, for being here and putting this program together. So it's Wednesday, and what do we do in this class? Some of you work with me on Monday mornings. On Monday mornings, we do a half hour of yoga, also chair yoga, and then we do a guided meditation. And then, but here we do same thing but different. So what is different about this class? The physical part of this class is more or less always the same. On the Monday class, it's different every week. The Wednesday class is more or less the same every time. And why is that? Sometimes just installing or creating a new ritual is helpful. Doing the same thing over and over again, given that it's a helpful ritual, yes? And hopefully the movements that I put together is helpful. After a while, when we do this over and over again, it becomes second nature. And we don't think about it so much, and it becomes easy, just like brushing your teeth. You don't brush your teeth differently every day. You more or less do the same thing. That's the physical part of it. And we do that for like 40 minutes. And then the last 15 minutes, we practice meditation. And it's a seated meditation. In the Monday class, it's a guided meditation. You lay down, you listen to a story, kind of entertaining almost. Here is a seated meditation where there's a lot of silence. What happens in that silence? We start to hear the chatter, the monkey mind. It's like all the stuff that's going on in my brain. It can be very frustrating, distracting. And if it's hard, maybe I sit for 3 minutes and then I can't deal with this chatter anymore, you can stand up and walk around and then come back and then try again. We practice meditation. So now, after some feedback from you guys, we practice 2 different kinds of meditation at the same time. So you have options. You have an option. One is just the seated, where the focus is on the breath. So what happens in meditation? I'm sitting in meditation. I focus on my breath, inhale, exhale, and then after a while I start thinking and creating all these stories. And then I become aware of it. Oh, I'm here creating stories. And then I bring my focus back to my breathing. And then I inhale, exhale, and then I do that for a while, and then I lose it, and then I start thinking. So it's a practice. That's one. The other one is the sa, ta, na, ma. When my mind is very busy, it's easy for me. It's easier to have a mantra. Sa, ta, na, ma. So I repeat this over and over again. Sa, ta, na, ma. And I can use the fingers. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa stands for birth. Ta for life. Na for death, ma for rebirth. The circle of life. The circle of life. Our physical bodies, they change and eventually we lose them. But the spiritual part of me, it's always there. Another thing we do is that we do take some help from teachers that came before us. This is Pema Chodron, an American Buddhist nun. So I pick something from, this is a little mini book, and I pick something from her. I just like what does Pema have to say today? And I listen to her. I don't have to agree with her, but I just listen. So I'm just going to read this. Be grateful to everyone. Others will always show you exactly where you are stuck. They say or do something And you automatically get hooked into a familiar way of reacting, shutting down, speeding up, or getting all worked up. When you react in the habitual way with anger, greed, and so forth, it gives you a chance to see your patterns and work with them honestly and compassionately. Without others provoking you, you remain ignorant of your painful habits and cannot train in transforming them into the path of awakening. Okay, so let's start the physical practice. So take your seat. First, we create a space. So I have a little corner here of my living room where I practice and teach. So I've created a little environmental space where I can practice. And then I've picked the chair. So I work with different chairs. This is my favorite chair. And then finding your seat. It's finding your seat. Feet are hip distance apart, hands on your knees. And then if you want to, you can bring your awareness to your feet, lifting the heels, lifting the toes, just reminding yourself of the connection to earth. And then if you want to, you can bring your awareness to your sitting bones. Notice the sitting bones connecting to the chair to the floor to the foundation of the building, and the building to earth, and earth to the other people on the other side of this planet. And then if you want to, you can bring awareness up to the crown of the head. Imagine how the crown of the head is reaching up towards the sky. And at the same time, the feet are securely connected to earth. And then if you want to, you can place your hands on your knees and then start to move in that cat-cow movement or way. So waking up the spine, rounding the back, coming into a slight back bend. Exhale and round. Inhale into a back bend. Exhale, round. And then coming back to neutral. And then bringing the arms up in cactus and then gently twisting from side to side, waking up solar plexus and the spine in a different way. Notice how your feet are still connected to earth and how you use your feet to stay grounded. Even though I'm twisting with my upper body, I stay grounded. You can continue doing this, or if you want to, maybe you want to go swimming, reaching forward. And maybe think about what did he say? Oceans of possibilities, an ocean of possibilities. What does your ocean look like? Is it warm or is it cold? Is it the Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, or maybe a mystery ocean? I don't know. You do. And then release, maybe roll the shoulders like that. A little bit, lift the shoulders, release them down. And then look at your right thumb. Look at the right thumb. Imagine that this is a crayon. Pick a color that you like or a crayon that you would like to work with. One of my colors that I don't really like is actually pink. So I'm going to pick pink and see what that does. And then draw a big circle. Big circle. Look at that thumb. Draw a big circle with a color that you either like or would like to work with. And then come back to neutral. Take a moment. And then look at the left thumb, pick same color or maybe a different one. I'll pick green this time. And then I'll draw a big circle with a green crayon and just notice what that does to me today. And then coming back to neutral. Inhale, exhale, and then let's do the blinking stars. So open and close the fingers and hands. Really open them and spread the fingers as much as you can. Open and close, blinking stars, blinking, bubbling stars. Maybe bring the arms all the way up to the sky. Maybe reach and catch for some blinking, bubbling stars that you like. So maybe reach and catch some blinking, bubbling stars that you like. They might be out to the sides or in front of you or above you or maybe even behind you. And then release the arms and then come into airplane arms. So thinking about the fingertips and reach the fingertips away from each other as much as possible. Breathe. Fingers are moving away from each other. Your arms are getting wider, shoulders are getting wider. That little manubrium in between the collarbones are starting to widen, open up. And then we're going to add the cat-cow movement here. So I'm going to inhale and rotate the hands, the palms of the hands up. Exhale and rotate them forward. Inhale, rotate them up and back. Exhale, rotate forward. And maybe if you were an airplane or a bird, where would you fly? Where would you fly? Maybe you would fly to my little bird feeder out there. Maybe you would fly across the ocean. And then the next time you're rolling forward, then bring the arms behind you, hold on to opposite arms, and then just stay there for a moment. Sit up tall, taking in with your feet, crown of the head is reaching up. And then notice any tightness in your arms or shoulders. Maybe imagine the breath to be that healing ocean, that healing water in the ocean. And bring that healing water to rinse and clean and soften whatever needs to be rinsed, cleaned, or softened. And then release the right arm, shake it out, and then bring it all the way up, and then bend the elbow and scratch yourself in between the shoulder blades. If you want to, you can even start walking the hands towards each other, and maybe your fingertips will touch. That works for me on one side, but not on the other side. And then release, shake it out. Arms back out in airplane, reach the fingertips away from each other. Inhale, look up. Exhale, rotate forward. Inhale, rotate back. Exhale forward. And then once again, bring the arms behind you. Hold on to opposite elbows. And breathe into the tightness. And then release the left arm down. Bring it all the way up. Bend the elbow and scratch yourself in between the shoulder blades. So for me, this side is much tighter. And then with the curious mind, I'm like, that's interesting. And then I use my breath, find the tightness. Use your breath as water, rinsing, cleaning, strengthening water. And then release down, shake it out. Bring your hands to your sitting bones, your knees. And then bring your awareness to your sitting bones. And then start to shift from side to side. Shifting your weight from side to side. And you can continue doing this, or if you want to, you can start making big circles, almost like belly dancing. Big circles. Notice how your belly is moving. The belly, it might be the navel is moving back and then forward, back and forward. If you want, you can even place your hand on your navel or that area and notice how that part of your body is moving when you're making circles. You can go one way, then you can go the other way, or maybe you want to move diagonally. Or maybe you want to move like in an 8 shape. And then coming back to neutral, bring your feet together, big toes to touch, heels slightly apart, Tadasana feet, lifting that right knee up, making big circles, opening up the hip joint. And then stepping that foot out wide, elbows on knees, fingertips together, lengthen the spine. You can stay here, or if you want to, you can bring your fingertips down towards the floor, walk your hands forward. The tendency here is that the knees collapse forward. Resist that, bring the knees back, bring the knees back. Inhale, come back up. Now take that right leg and come into a seated pigeon. So like a figure 4, sitting up tall, maybe using your fingers to place in between your toes, in between your toes. The right elbow can gently guide that right knee out a little bit. And then you can sit here and you can remain still, or maybe move forward a little bit, or side to side, or maybe you prefer circles. You choose. And then coming back to neutral, big toes to touch, heels slightly apart, left knee goes up, making big circles with that knee. Opening up the hip joint, and then stepping out wide, elbows to knees, fingertips together. Lengthen the spine. You can stay here, or if you want to, you can bring your fingertips down towards the earth, walk the fingers forward. Inhale, come back up, left foot to right knee, figure 4. Use your fingers Place the fingers in between the toes to open up the toes and feet. Maybe gently guide that left knee out with the elbow. Another thing you can do is you can flex and point the toes, flex and point the toes. My teacher doesn't like making circles with the feet. She prefers this movement, flexing and pointing the toes, flexing and pointing. She might be right, don't know. Maybe you want to lean forward, or maybe shift your weight from side to side, or some kind of movement here. You can try different ones and see what you like. And then release and come back to neutral. Now we're going to do the strength building in the legs. So I'm going to move all the way back, bring the heels fairly close to the chair, feet are hip distance apart, and then slowly transfer the weight forward and up, and then go back down again, making sure that the chair is stable. And then we go up and down a few times, building strength, and then eventually just bending the knees, finding a place that maybe just touch the chair and then come up like an inch, like a floating chair. I can stay here. I can then lift one foot, lift the other if I want to. Maybe I want to jump. And then when I get tired, I stay a little bit longer. And then I can release down, take a break. And then I try again. And imagine if I did this a few times a day in different chairs, or even if I'm waiting at the bus or in the subway. Or sitting in the kitchen. Maybe you want to jump. And then eventually coming up to standing. Okay, now standing, let the arms go. Let the arms be heavy and let them swing from side to side. The body is smart. If you want to, you can bend your knees. Maybe you want to let the arms swing this way or that way. Or maybe your arms want to make big circles. Or maybe they want to swing around like this. Arms are heavy and swinging around. And then coming back to neutral, bring the arms in cactus, and then gently twisting from side to side. Maybe look behind you. And then eventually start swimming. Maybe this time you're swimming in the lake and not the ocean. And then come to neutral. Look at that right thumb, pick a color, and then draw that big circle, big circle, big circle. Back to neutral. Look at your left thumb, pick a different color or the same, and then draw a big circle. Look at that circle. Look, how big can you draw that circle? And what color is it? And then come back to neutral. Blinking stars, open and close the fingers, blinking, bubbling stars. Come all the way up, maybe reach and pick some stars that you like. What colors are the stars that you like. And then bringing the arms out in airplane, reach the fingertips away from each other, away from each other. The arms are getting longer, longer. The manubrium in between the collarbones are opening up. And then rotate up and forward and down. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. And then release. Now, blinking stars again. Then spread the fingers as much as you can. Now, imagine that there's something heavy that you push away. You push away, you push away, you push away. And then you hold it there. And it pushes back. And sometimes that is stronger than you are. And you have to give in a little bit. But then you find your strength again and you push it back. You push it back, you push it back. And then you hold it there. Sometimes we need to kick it too. I'm going to kick it. I'm going to kick it away. Anything that you no longer need, you're going to kick it and you're going to hold it away from you. And then release. Hands on your hips. And then start to shift your weight from side to side. And then eventually start lifting that foot. The toes are still pointing forward. So I'm working with the outer part of my hip, lifting that leg to the side. Maybe you even want to balance on one leg and lift that leg up. Working with the outside of the hip. And then maybe try the other side. And then we're going to end with kicking ourselves in the butt. Kick yourself in the butt. Give yourself a kick in the butt. Yes, I'm going to do this now. Waking up the hamstrings. All right, coming back to neutral. Let's do 3 sound salutations. 3 sound salutations. Coming into Tadasana, you can even you can start with your feet hip distance apart, or big toes to touch, heels slightly apart. Finding Tadasana, mountain posture. And then inhale, arms up. Exhale, up and over. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, all the way back up. Exhale, down the midline. That was 1. If you want to do it with the chair, this is how it looks. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, up and over. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, all the way back up. Exhale, down the midline. Last one. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, up and over. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, all the way back up. Exhale, down the midline, and then stay there, holding your own heart in between your hands with love and compassion. And then release. Okay, now big toes to touch, heels slightly apart. Inhale to chair posture. Exhale to Anjali Mudra. Shift the weight to the left leg. The right heel comes off the floor. Take a big step back. Open up the pelvic halves. Finding warrior 2. Reach the fingertips away from each other. Now, think about those fingertips. The 5 fingertips. Now you have 5 crayons, 5 crayons. Imagine that you can draw a big circle and you have 5 crayons. Could be the same color or it could be 5 different colors. What does your circle look like? If you want to, you can stay back here in reversed warrior two for a moment. And then you can come forward to extended side angle for a moment. And then you can keep on doing the big circle. And really what we're doing is moving in between reversed warrior two and side angle. Reversed warrior two and extended side angle. And then eventually coming back to warrior two. Put your hands on your hips, straighten that front knee. Let the front hand slide down the leg for Trikonasana. Elbow is pointing up. And then if you want to, you can bring that arm up towards the sky. If your balance is very good, you can look up that hand. Bring your gaze down, hand back down on your hip. Rebend the front knee, coming back to warrior two. Now, I'm gonna hold on to the chair. I'm gonna drag that back foot with me. Drag it, drag it, drag it, and then lift it up, lift it up. And then dip the toes in the water. Dip the toes in the water, lift it up. Dip in the water, lift it up. You can stay up here if you want to. Maybe spread the toes and let the air dry them. Dip them in the water again. And then eventually bringing that foot back together, bring the feet back together, bend the knees, and come back up to standing. Let's try the other side. Inhale to chair posture, exhale to Anjali Mudra. Shift the weight to your right leg, left heel comes off the floor. Take a big step back, open up the pelvic halves, finding warrior two. Fingertips are reaching away from each other. Imagine your fingertips as crayons. And then start making that, or paint that big circle, big circle. Maybe stay in reversed warrior. Maybe find extended side angle. And then going in between these two postures, drawing that big circle. And then eventually finding warrior two again. Place your hands on your hips, straighten that front knee, let the front hand slide down the front leg. Elbow is pointing up. Maybe bring the arm up towards the sky. If your balance is very good, you could look up towards your fingers. Bring your gaze back down, rebend the front knee, come back to warrior two. And I'm gonna hold on to the chair. I'm gonna drag that back foot with me and then lift it up. Dip the toes in the water, lift it up. Dip in the water, lift it up. And then maybe you wanna hold it up there, open up the toes, and then dip in the water. And then eventually finding or placing the feet back together, bend your knees and come back up to standing. Now, if you'd like, you can practice tree posture. So I prefer to do this without holding onto the chair or a wall. If you want to, you can, but my experience is that I rather make a tiny tree without holding on and eventually building strength and balance to become the tree I'm supposed to be. Big toes to touch, heels slightly apart. Mountain posture. From here, shift your weight to the left leg. Bring the right heel off the floor. We already practiced this while we were at the chair. Already here, the back is harder to balance. This might be it. This is a lot of practice. My standing leg is working hard to keep the balance. Maybe you want to put your hands on your hips, maybe Anjali Mudra, maybe airplane, or maybe cactus. What works for you? Standing up tall, you imagine how the crown of the head is reaching up towards the sky and the standing foot is securely connected to earth. Standing tall, 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 spine is tall. This is great practice, building strength in that standing leg. If you want to, you can lift the knee off the floor. Maybe come into a traditional tree posture. Ooh. Or maybe come into a not so traditional tree posture. Maybe there's a lot of wind where your tree is. And then eventually coming back to mountain with big toes to touch, heels slightly apart. Standing tall like a steady mountain. And then try the other side. Transfer the weight to the right leg. Left heel comes off the floor. That might be it. Already here, the standing leg is working hard to keep the balance. Stand up tall. The foot is pushing into the floor and the crown of the head is reaching up towards the sky. Pit of the belly goes in and up. The spine is long. Maybe hands on hips, maybe cactus, airplane. If you want to, you can lift that foot off the floor. And then play around. What kind of tree would you like to be? Yes, there is a traditional conventional tree posture shown in all the books. And then there are tons of other trees. We see them all the time when we go out in the woods. There's not one tree that looks the same. And then eventually coming back to mountain posture. Okay, let's do some blinking stars. Open and close the fingers. Coming all the way up. And then arms in cactus. This time, bring the knee across and open up. Across and open up. Across and open up. And then hands on your hips and kick some butt again. And then release. And then we're going to just practice going down to the floor and then come back up. So in life, sometimes we fall down. And if we practice both falling down and getting up, it's not so scary when it actually happens. So placing the hands on the chair, stepping back, release the knees down. If you want to, you can even go all the way down and lay down on the floor. So sometimes we fall. And then we get back up. So I'm gonna come back up. I'm gonna place my hands on the chair. And then I place the forearms on my chair. Maybe holding on to, maybe clasp the hands and creating that stable triangle. And then I'm going to tuck the toes. And then I stay here for a moment. I breathe in and exhale. And when I'm ready, I'm going to lean heavy onto my forearms, engage the core, and then lift the knees off the floor. And then come up higher and higher, walk the feet towards the chair. Bend the knees. Place the hands on the chair, and then slowly come back up to standing without fainting. All right, cool. Now, let's get ready for that seated meditation. We have another 15 minutes to practice together. Okay, so let's just repeat a few things. One traditional way of practicing meditation is to sit up tall on a chair, or if you want to sit on the floor, often what we use is a bolster, and then you're sitting in a cross-legged position. The knees are support, but for this to work, the knees need to come all the way down to the floor, and the hips are higher than the knees. So for me, sitting like this for 15 minutes, that's going to hurt my knees. So I don't like that. So I prefer to do seated meditation in a chair, but that's me. You might be different. You are different. And then I focus on the breath. I notice the inhale, notice the exhale. Notice the inhale, notice the exhale. And then I'm going to lose track. That happens to even Dalai Lama, I think. Lose track of that, and I'm going to start thinking, creating all these stories. Oh, I need to do this after class, or what are we having for dinner tonight? And did I pick up this or that? All kinds of stories. Yeah. And then after a while, I become aware. There's a part of me. It's a part of me that becomes aware of this, of the storytelling. It's a part of me that becomes, oh my goodness, here we are. We're thinking again. Okay. And then I bring my awareness back to the breathing. Notice the inhale, notice the exhale. Notice the inhale, notice the exhale. And then after a while, the mind is going to start drifting, and I'm going to be in my story again. And oh, this is happening. He said that, and she did this, and la 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 la. And then I'm going to become aware of what's going on, my storytelling, and then I bring my focus back to my breathing. That's why this is called a practice. If my mind is very busy, I can't sit still, it's okay. I can get up, walk around, and then come back down again. 15 minutes can be a very long time. Another practice is sa-ta-na-ma. Sa-ta-na-ma. I can say it out loud. I can whisper it. I can say it silently in my mind. Sa-ta-na-ma. Birth, life, death, rebirth. Birth, life, death, rebirth. Sa-ta-na-ma. Okay, before, and you can combine the two. You can start with the sa-ta-na-ma, or you can start here, and then if you feel that the mind is very busy, you can do sa-ta-na-ma for a while. Okay, I'm just going to read Pema Chodron's words one more time. Be grateful to everyone. Others will always show you exactly where you are stuck. They say or do something, and you automatically get hooked into a familiar way of reacting, shutting down, speeding up, or getting all worked up. When you react in the habitual way with anger, greed, and so forth, it gives you a chance to see your patterns and work with them honestly and compassionately. Without others provoking you, you remain ignorant of your painful habits and cannot train in transforming them into the path of awakening. Okay, here we go. We have another like 10, 11 minutes to practice. So find your seat, sitting up tall, checking in with earth, maybe lift the heels and the toes, hands on your knees, maybe. Shake out those shoulders. Spine is tall, neck is long, crown of the head is reaching up towards the sky. You can close your eyes, you can keep a soft gaze. And then eventually starting to bring your focus inwards. Notice your breath. Noticing the inhale, noticing the, the exhale. And then I'm going to be quiet, and after 10 minutes, I'll end the meditation. So now I'm going to be silent for 10 minutes, and you get to practice on your own. Wiggle your fingers. Wiggle your toes. Gently rock the head from side to side. Take a big breath in. Let it go. If you'd like, you can place your hands in Anjali Mudra, holding your own heart in between your hands with love and compassion. Maybe gently bow your head in gratitude for this practice, thousands of years old. Thank you, inner guide, your past, present, and future teachers, and all the people that are joining you on this journey. Open your eyes, raise your gaze, and thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.
Hi, everyone. This is Z from Yonkers Public Library. Thanks so much to Sally Pinto and Alexis and Barbara from Newark. Thank you to our community partners, WJCS, the City of Yonkers Office for the Aging, Westchester County Legislator Ruth Walter, Friends of Crestwood Library, and Yonkers Public Library for making this phenomenal partnership. And we thank each and every one of you for being part of our wellness community. Be well, stay well.